Welcome to In the Cut, the show that gets you up close and personal with BN and our community. And now, here is your host, Kevon Cameron.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to In the Cut, the show that gets you up close and personal with BN, our community happenings, and all that good stuff. I am your host, Kevon Cameron. I'm also the lead organizer for BN's New York City affiliate. This show is a production of BlackNonbelievers, which is a 501c3 organization. It's headquartered in the Atlanta area. We connect Blacks with others and allies who are living free of religion and might otherwise be shunned by their families and friends by providing caring, friendly, and informative community. Instead of accepting dogma, we determine truth and morality through reason and evidence. The mission of BlackNonbelievers, of course, is to provide secular fellowship, nurture and support non-believers in coming out, encourage pride in non-religious identities, educate the public on the history and current state of non-belief in the Black community, and of course, organize for events and charitable causes. BN welcomes all, regardless of age, gender identity, sexual identity, national origin, or racial identity. However, our content and our work prioritizes Black non-religious voices. With that being said, I'd like to welcome the founder and president of BlackNonbelievers and my co-host, Mandisa Thomas. How's it going, Mandisa?
Pretty good. What's going on, Kevin? I hope everything's okay up in the New York City area. I am live at DragonCon 2022, which is the premier event here in Atlanta. It is a very pop culture sort of Comic-Con type of convention. But the unique thing about this event is that they have a skep track, which produces content, everything related to skepticism, atheism, humanism, free thought, etc. And it's really, really good to be back here. We are tabling. You may see me. Here's our new background and our new standing banner in the back of us. And I'm currently located in the Hilton, Atlanta, which is where most of the science, skeptics, and anime production is being held. But it's all over downtown. I had the parade earlier today, this morning. And so it's very exciting. There's tens of thousands of people that are here. And I'm very, very happy that our special guests, Greydon and Tombstone, are here with us because they are also here live. And so it has just been a wonderful time this weekend, for the most part anyway. There were some serious hiccups that took place with some stuff that happened to my reservation. And one of my bags was taken and was treated like a security risk. But luckily, oh my gosh, that is so. You have people who come through here with all kinds of stuff. I really wish I could turn my camera around so you could see some of the costumes. But they range, what people are dressed up as. It ranges from everything that's new to old. We saw one guy dressed as Captain Kangaroo earlier. So there's a lot of nostalgia here as well. And so it is just a really, really good time. We've had some folks coming up to the table. They recognize us from previous years, and they're just glad to see us if this is their first time. But also, just to let everyone who is watching know, all of our viewers and all of our members know, tomorrow is my birthday. I will be 46 years old. And of course, I would like to ask for your support for BlackNonbelievers, for the work we do. It is extremely important to our presence here and across the United States. So, y'all just tabled up at the Jersey City Pride Festival, didn't you, Kevon?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Stephanie hosted the Jersey City Pride event. Yes.
Oh, okay. Did you go there with her, or you just kind of stayed home?
I was unable to make it, unfortunately. But
okay.
But from what I hear, it was a great event.
Yeah, she did. She did give me some feedback on that. She said it was really, really good, that there were a lot of people who were glad to see us there, especially the New York City affiliate group representing there, which is great because we do like to table at various events as well. So, I appreciate y'all representing us there and getting the connections going. And I hope they continue. So
speaking of reception, how are people receiving Black Non-Believers at DragonCon?
I remember the first year we tabled here, and which was in 2014. At first, we got people who were like, "Well, who the hell are y'all?" Right? But then this is a group of like science fiction, comic book, movie fans and such, and so there really is some intersection here of skepticism and free thought. But over the years, we've gotten a much better reception. There was one young lady who came up to us yesterday and said that she was impressed that there was a Skep track here, that there was content and programming dedicated specifically to free thought and skepticism, and she didn't see that at other conferences or conventions, and so she was wondering what was the difference, especially, or why that was the case, especially here in the South. But it was really, really good for us to have that level of engagement here. And we've been having, like I said, a number of people come up and tell us about, their experiences, or even so we've had some people who are believers as well, but they have folks who are atheists, and they wanted to pass on information about us. So that was really, really great. So it's always a good time here at DragonCon, and we will definitely, it's like a second home for us. Labor Day weekend, and I'll be speaking tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and my other talk was moved to 5:30 tomorrow afternoon, but it'll still be nice. I'm looking forward to it, and again, on my birthday. So again, for those who are watching and for those who will be watching, please do make your tax deductible donation in honor of my 46th birthday tomorrow. You can do it today if you wish, but definitely tomorrow. So with that, I will turn it back to Kevon so that we can get started with our show today.
Thanks, Randy, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thanks. Now I'd like to welcome back to the show, actually, our special guests, Greydon Square and Tombstone Da Deadman, who are live with Mandisa at DragonCon, promoting their new comic book series, Extropy and Entropy, from Majestic Comics. Welcome back, guys.
Yeah.
What's up?
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us back. It's an honor to be back.
Absolutely.
It's nice to have you back. So we talked a little bit last time about your background and your history and skepticism and non-belief and everything. But this episode, of course, you guys are at DragonCon, so we're gonna focus on the more comic elements.
The geekery.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So you guys started the last time we talked about you guys starting Majestic Comics. So what have you been up to since the last time you were on the show?
Tombstone?
Yeah. So there is always something to do when you have this startup company or whatever. It's always things we either missed, have to go back and take care of, or new things we get introduced to. And that's kind of what we've been doing. We've been structuring things, and we did a Kickstarter campaign, which was very successful. We actually went over 3 times the amount that we were trying to raise. And that's actually one of the things that made it possible for us to do DragonCon. And the whole fulfillment part of the Kickstarter thing, we're still in the middle of that, getting the reward tier things manufactured and then shipped out. And it's been challenging for some of the stuff, but between that and making sure that the next issue is going to be done and done well, that's kind of where we're at right now. So after this Comic-Con is over, we go back to work,
Yeah, I think what we've tried to do since the last time we were on the show is really just grow the visibility of the brand. Majestic Comics as a brand has a particular storytelling style, and we want to bring that awareness to people. We did a presentation last night where people were exposed to us for the first time. They had never heard of Grand Unified. They had never heard of the Legion or Trans-Intellectualism or Majestic Comics or anything like that. So them walking in basically off the street from even across the pond and being able to have that awareness raised about the type of product that we're trying to put out, the type of storytelling and intellectual provocation that we're trying to trigger, That's really been our goal over the last 3 months, I think, since the last time we were on the show.
Right. You mentioned storytelling. You got into a bit last time. Can you give like a synopsis? It's a comic book, so from what you described last time, it seems like you guys have been working on this. It seems like very extensive, but could you give like a synopsis of what Extropy and Entropy is about?
Absolutely. When you strip it down, it's about friendship between two of our main characters, Grey of Extropia and Lord Entropy. Grey of Extropia comes from an advanced civilization. He's one of their finest scientists. Lord Entropy comes from a warlike invader-esque type of species that, has a past history that's just like soaked in blood and carnage and invasions and the exploitation of other groups. Ordinarily, these two would have nothing in common, not a thing. But because of situations that happened in the past where they had to rely on each other because of a mutual enemy, they forged at first uneasy friendship that evolved into a strong friendship. And all of that is pretty much thrown into question because one of them is working on a technology that's considered forbidden science where they're from.
How you say one of them like it's not me?
I didn't want to throw you under the bus.
He threw me under the bus.
You mad scientist, you.
It's crazy because I love the fact that you do strip it down. It is a story about a relationship between two ideologically differing perspectives.
Yeah.
Grey of Extropia being from this Cartesian, this higher Cartesian level civilization, they have a lot of views that are great in theory, but then in practicality, you start to see that a lot of it doesn't really just survive without being affected by, let's say, the greater situation.
Right.
And it also is exposed in Lord Entropy's relationship with his kingdom, right? Because he is a monarchical ruler who now has to reconcile this past history of blood and imperialism with now this newer perspective of tolerance and acceptance of lower races and lower species and this cosmic hierarchy where they've got an immense amount of power. They are essentially a type of anthropomorphic personification of that reality's entropy.
Right.
So they have a reason to be arrogant in that way. But it also causes conflict when dealing with other races that have other power from other parts of that reality. So I would like to say that it's a cross between, let's say Deep Space Nine and, some of the other kind of fantasy operas that you might find at Game of Thrones or something like that. Because the lore is just so deep. I mean, we spent, we spent years building thousands of years of lore for each civilization.
Yeah, it's really weighty. It's really deep. And with that, the one thing that we discovered by doing it that way is we have a backdrop that can help create stories for years. Like there's certain things in history that we have that no one knows about these civilizations in our stories, but we do. And we wrote them for context. So we would actually have the ability to go into that sandbox and just pull stories out, and create characters like this, give them all kinds of, it was really important for us to develop the world and universe around these characters. So it felt like real places and real space and time. It made it a lot easier for us to create the situations for these characters to have to interact in. And
one of the things I just want to jump in really quickly. One of the things we also did that I feel like is kind of unique in what we do is that there are no real heroes and villains. We don't really use those labels to describe our characters. We tend to look at it from like a pro wrestling perspective where you have baby faces and heels, right?
Right.
And heels can turn face, faces can turn heel, right? You never know when it's going to happen, but how many times do we see Triple H turn heel and then turn face? And then turn face, right? A hero can't ever really surprise you, and a villain can't ever really surprise you. But a heel can surprise you. I've been surprised by Kurt Angle being a heel. I've been surprised by Undertaker being a heel.
Right.
Kane, you know, like the big monster who destroys everything, but all of a sudden now has a heart in this situation.
Right.
You know, he's a teddy bear.
Right.
But then he just murders and slaughters something else. And, you know what I mean?
He sets somebody on fire, but then he saves a kitten.
Yeah. I like that that vibe that it's not just because not that there's anything wrong with superheroes. I love
not at all. I love superheroes.
I love a good Marvel movie myself.
Absolutely.
But I like the idea of a comic book that's not, you know, sort of the same old superhero. This is the good guy. These are the bad guys. I think
absolutely
that kind of thing existed. That sort of Superman-esque era existed where people wanted to see the sort of black and white. This is good. The sort of
this is bad. Right.
This is good. This is bad. And I think now we have our we have, even with superheroes these days, we have the anti-hero, the Star-Lords, those types of characters.
Winter Soldier.
Yes,
the Winter Soldiers. I would even put Batman in that category as well. Batman will beat the crap out of you. You could be a security guard at LexCorp, getting paid minimum wage. You're just standing there with a flashlight. He's trying to get into LexCorp, and he thinks you'll see him and raise an alarm. He'll beat the crap out of you. You know, Superman won't really hurt you if he doesn't have to. You know, I'll just put you out of the way here. Restrain you right here. Batman will beat your ass. Absolutely. Every time.
Definitely.
But once again, though, the problem with Batman is ultimately he's a hero, correct?
Yes, ultimately.
So what can't Batman do?
He won't kill.
He won't kill, at least premeditatively,
right.
Or he won't, by the definition of, I guess, legal murder, partake in it, right? But he will allow people to die through their circumstances. I guess that's second or third degree proxy murder or whatever.
And also, how many people who he's beaten the crap out of had to go into intensive care and had like health issues after that? Have you seen some of the beatdowns he's getting? There's no way. It's no way you're not gonna have residual. So yeah, you probably didn't die, but you're on disability now.
I wonder how much of the taxpayer Gotham City dollar Batman has caused in healthcare bills.
Right.
I'm sure Wayne Industries donates to some of those causes.
He better
make up for
that.
Better
do something.
Better. Otherwise, I'm not sure he's no different than, you know, a kingpin or something like that. Just kind of operating on his own interests, just removing the competition.
You know what else he could do? And this is not a bag on Batman segment, but nobody else. He could actually do a little bit more for the infrastructure of Gotham, so that people have jobs and don't have to go out there and work for the Joker. Why would you work for the Joker? Why? Like, seriously, times must be really hard when you had to take a job with the Joker.
This is the thing that we disagree about, bro. We totally disagree. Some people want to be gangbangers.
Facts, but
some people want to be jokers.
When I was a gangbanger, there was never the threat was there, but it wasn't so obvious that if I slipped up really, really badly, that they would have to do something to the Joker. This could be on a whim. It might be a punchline for him, and he'll take you out. You could have been doing everything you were supposed to do, and he would take you out because it's a punchline.
I have to agree with Greydon there. I mean, people do want to be in gangs, especially when you consider like Batman Beyond, how they're even in the future there's a gang called
the Jokers. Right.
Or even there was a comic book called The Robins, right?
Yes.
And there was they were almost like a vigilante group that went out there and were putting people in comas.
bro, seriously.
So with those Batman beatdowns,
no Miranda rights over there. Not in that universe.
I don't know. I've always found Batman a little bit unrealistic in the fact that they just seem to keep escaping from Arkham. It's like I've always been more of a Punisher guy personally.
Yeah. Or Bel Rev. I mean, think about how corrupt the criminal justice system is in Gotham. If people can only really do max stints of 1 to 3 years in Bel Rev, or what's the other holding
Arkham Asylum, Bel Rev, and
there's something else.
Yeah. but I'm
But
drawing
most of the
blank.
long-term stints that any of the villains stay in there are like 1 to 3 years at the most.
And
It's
then
like these guys are indicted for like triple homicides and
then
connected
you
to like
let them
mafia
back
killings.
out, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. You drop the Punisher in Gotham for a night. For a night. He wouldn't take out all of them, but he'd take
a
out
lot of
so
them.
many that Batman would have less work. Like, no, but knowing Batman, he'd go after Frank.
Yeah.
He'd go after Frank. You know.
Yeah.
I wonder who wins that.
Probably Batman. He's just better trained.
I think so. I think. Look, I know I have a lot of my fans love the Punisher, right? I do too, because I think a lot of those other heroes are half measures. But Frank does have tactical awareness and all some stuff. But Batman is just. It's different. It's
using
different.
using the 7-game series analogy, Batman in 5.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll give Joker a game, a gentleman's sweep, sort of like he might get lucky one game, take Batman by surprise. But I think Batman is just too intellectually, and then Punisher does operate from a place of emotion in a lot of places, and I think that compromises his tactical ability, even though he's a tactical.
Yeah, he's very tactical, but I just think. See, with Batman, it's more than just tactics. Like, Batman is a scientific genius. He has a lot of other intangibles and he got more money than Frank. Let's just call it. Listen, look, you got big bank, take little bank.
Yeah.
You know?
Trained in martial arts, magic, basically everything.
Yeah. And I think his allies, see, that's the other thing too. His allies are more diverse. Like with the Punisher, it's hard for the Punisher to go to the other heroes in the Marvel Universe and go, hey guys, I need help. Because a lot of them would try to lock him up for the shit he does. You know what I'm saying? Where Batman can go to Zatanna for a magical solution like that. And I don't know that Frank has too many defenses against magical attacks, right? So it's just, and then on top of that, if Batman was to pull out the big guns, there's always Kal-El.
Right.
Like Punisher, what gun you got?
Yeah, there's always Big Blue.
It's always Big Blue. So
I love when you guys come on. It's just nerding about everything. But we should probably stick to DragonCon.
Absolutely.
So you guys are at DragonCon this weekend, which is a huge event. How's it been so far? What's your schedule like? What have you been up to?
Okay, so we can break the schedule up in pre-presentation and then after the presentation, right? So before the presentation, we were trying to get our footing and figure out what is the best usage of our time here, because this is an opportunity. This is the first time this company has done something like this, and it's important for us to get the biggest bang for our buck being here and make it really, really count. But there was also, of course, the pressure of we got a presentation to do. So a lot of that, trying to figure that out was a big part of the first part. And it was also learning the area, because this is a massive, massive convention held over 5 hotels.
And they're all connected.
And they're all connected through skywalks and everything. And it's the amount of people, that's the other thing I was not prepared for, was the amount of people here. There is a wall of humanity everywhere you turn around and look. It looks like that scene from Game of Thrones with the White Walkers. They are just coming. So we had to figure a lot of these things out, where we were going, what we were doing. Then we had the presentation. And I gotta say, not to be immodest, Majestic Comics kicked ass. I'm just gonna put it out there. I feel like we did a really good job. We were entertaining and all of that. And the people showed a lot of love afterwards. One of the things we picked up on too was, at least for us, where we were, it's far better for us to take some books, put them in a bag, and walk around that convention and talk to people and engage with people and laugh and talk about their costumes and geek out on whatever fandom that we all were a part of, and then present to them, this is what we do. We are Majestic Comics. We have a comic book, and doing it that way was very effective for us this go round. And that's what we got. Like, what, 3 more days? We're gonna be doing the same thing, walking through here. So any of you that are at DragonCon and you see us walking through, do not hesitate to come speak to us, talk to us. We're here to laugh, we're here to have fun, and we're here to tell you about Majestic Comics.
Yeah, you know, we just tried to maximize the ability to grow the visibility of the brand. And so we will at times, you know, split up and go in different directions. And
yes,
you know, the great thing about being professional us is that we're professional us all the time.
All the time.
So
Every
I
day.
could be standing next to somebody in a hotel elevator and literally sell a comic book within 30 seconds because of the shirt that I'm wearing. Right.
Absolutely.
We've had we probably sold about 60 to 70% of our merch just off of what we've been wearing. Because people are like, yo, man, what shirt is that?
Facts.
They can't place what it is. They can't tell you like, oh, I've seen that before. And then you tell them it's like, it's yours. And they're like, for real? And then we start talking and they're like, yo, let me get one of them. Let me get 2 of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, then you start talking about, you know, long-term support and long-term investment into the brand and into the story. So, you know, at the end of the day, I am very open to criticism and I'm very open to fan engagement. And me and Tombstone has built this community of Grand Unified to basically be that. So when we're out here walking the streets, we're doing what we normally do, even when we're not at a DragonCon. We're engaging with people about the brand that we've created, and we're trying to grow the visibility of the story that we've created because we know that it's thought-provoking and that the characters not only look like us, but they feel like us. They have a very African, Afrocentric aesthetic genetically, you know, no shade to anybody else, but we like characters that look like us. And all the characters kind of look like us. So, you know, when you see the little black kid, you know, when you're standing in line to get your badge on the first day of con, and he walks by you and he sees your hoodie and he gets the big wide eyes because he's never seen those characters before.
Right.
You know, you've done your job, and that little black kid is now going to grow up and he's going to contribute to this artistic space. And that's all we're trying to do is pay it forward.
That's the thing. I said it at the presentation a few years ago. My wife made it possible on Father's Day for me to meet Stan Lee.
Wow.
Yeah, everything kind of changed for me in that moment because Stan was in his 90s and he was still out there doing what he do, and he was reaping the rewards of respect from other creators. Because as far as I'm concerned, he was an apex content creator, right? Like, I don't know how much bigger you get than a Stan Lee as far as in the content creation space, right? And it's one of those things that kind of spurred me on, so that when our partner Joseph Arnold, who is a phenomenal artist, when he hit me up about, yo, we really need to get on the ball and get the band back together, I thought about that meeting with Stan, and I was like, you're right. Because at the end of the day, I want to be able to do for kids and people, kids of all ages. I don't care. You can be an adult ass kid. I want to be able to do. I want to be able to do for them with Stan, Steve Ditko, Dwayne McDuffie, Jack Kirby, Jim Starlin. I want to do what these guys did for me, for other people, right? And that's give them a inspirational environment with which to grow their own ideas, with which to consider the things that are happening in their world around them, maybe from a different angle, maybe a more hopeful angle. You know what I mean? Because that's what I got out of it. I grew up in a time and around an environment where there was no shortage of people saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. Comic books create an environment where anything can happen. And if they see me and Greydon out there pushing our story and really making a goal of it, who knows? The next Greydon, the next Tombstone could be somebody that was influenced by what we did via either music or comic books.
Yeah. I mean, Stan Lee was I put him up there probably top 3 with with Gene Roddenberry and Rod Serling. For
Mm.
me.
When you said that, I instantly thought Gene
Roddenberry, yeah.
But my third pick probably would have been Isaac Asimov, but Rod Serling is not bad. No, Rod Serling is not a bad pick because that's a great fucking pick. So excuse my language. I'm not sure what
Yeah.
But
I know. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good.
All right. I know it's super early. You guys just released issue 000. And it's super issue 0. And it's super early, but I have to ask the question because we live in the superhero age and the comic book adaptation age. So have you looked down the line and thought, Walking Dead was a TV show? Is that been like in the back of your mind at all? Are there other
hasn't even been in the back of the mind?
Well, let me address that because I want to get out in front of that by saying this. As attractive as that is, and as enticing and as giddy as that makes us, I am still a creative fundamentalist, right? It doesn't matter if we want to create like an animation or create a TV show. We need to be married to the idea of creating compelling storylines, compelling characters, compelling worlds, compelling species.
Yeah.
I love being able to think down the line and say, man, this could be a fantastic animation series. And this would remind me of the animation series I grew up watching, X-Men TAS and Batman, Beyond, and Batman, the original animated series. Just a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like, yes, we would love that. But we also know we have to stay so grounded as to not become lost in our own success. Because one of the things that I did in music for a long time, for even just until recently, and I'm not saying I do this now, but I would never buy my own hype. I would never, there's this thing in wrestling where they say, you bought your own gimmick. Like, never buy your own gimmick. Bro. Like, you always have to stay from an observer perspective and realize, okay, listen, you still have to do X, Y, and Z to make this successful. So from my perspective to that question, it's still a grind. And as excited as we are, yes, we would love to have something. My preferred place would be Paramount Plus.
I knew he was going to say that.
I would love to have something on Paramount.
I knew he was going to say that. Yep. But he's right in that we released. This is the first book, and we have a long story to tell. I've often said that on Greydon before. This is a marathon, not a sprint, right? So we have a lot more story to tell, and we want to unveil it organically, so that people actually get the full weight of what we're trying to do, all of those badass moments that pay off the story elements that we put in there to intrigue people. And one of the things I notice about certain movies in the current day and age, they skip over certain things, and what it winds up doing, it causes me to disconnect from the overall story. I'm expecting certain things, a story to be told a certain type of way, and then they skip out a key element that's necessary to make me care going forward. And I don't want to take out the ability for people to care about these characters, about the stakes in the story, by leapfrogging over that to get to the badass part. Now, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. But first, you're going to get this work.
That's a great commentary on, in my opinion, the effective way to do that. Recently Neil Gaiman's Sandman came to Netflix, and if he wasn't involved, I don't know how this is done in the way that it's done, because it is so profound how well that show was done. And the only way they could have done that is if the person who created the comic and created all the lore was right there to translate it one-to-one in the way he wanted visual.
Absolutely.
So
bro.
For us, if we were ever able to get into a contractual relationship with a high, studio, a bigger studio, we would make sure that we retain creative control, and that we could make sure that we tell those points of our story that maybe a big studio would want to skip over. And if we can't tell those parts of our story, if we can't extend this out in like a series sort of way, like Invincible or something like that, honestly, we would try to find something smaller that would let us have more
do
freedom,
that
or just do it ourselves.
And because I'll give you a classic example. It's good that you mentioned Sandman. That first episode was absolutely necessary. yeah, we want to get to him engaging with the other endless and all of that stuff. That first episode needed to happen. You needed this backdrop. You needed the context
Are you talking
going
about Sleep with the
forward.
Just?
Yes, that first episode
Yeah.
where he was kidnapped and kept in, that had to happen. Yes, we want to get to the cosmic stuff, the abstract stuff, but you need that first one to care about all the other stuff that's about to come after that.
And if you
that's
read
how
the
we do
comic
it.
book, it is a literal one-to-one.
One-to-one.
Literal, but it's so close. They
Yeah.
changed little things, but not
But the
much.
overall point was the same.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like watching the comic book. It's so nuts.
It's really good.
I haven't checked out that show yet, so I was hoping. I didn't want to say no spoilers, but
that's all you'll get.
Yeah.
Mum's the word.
Even if we had said something about it, you have to watch it.
It
is marvelous.
Great casting.
It's a top 3 show of all time for me already.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's right up there with Spartacus and Deep Space Nine for me.
Oh, wow.
It's a beautiful show.
I'll just be completely transparent. I probably cried about 3 times during that show.
Some of the cinematography, I'm a geek for that stuff too because I video edit, and I'm looking at some of the shots, the way the composition in the shots, and I'm like, the lighting, bro,
the music, the way they scored it. Oh my goodness. Especially those things with death. Oh my goodness, just crazy.
Yeah.
I definitely have to check it out. I was a little iffy on it because I wasn't familiar with the comic book, but now
it's not your average. That's the thing about, once again, it's offbeat. It's not your heroes and villains type of thing, even though that reality exists right alongside with your Batman, your Superman, all of that. It exists alongside of that. But just because those universes have certain aspects of them that are superhero-y, traditional superhero, doesn't mean that every part of it is there. It doesn't have to be that. It's a universe. So yes, on this planet they have costume superheroes, but on the next planet they don't. That's not a thing, right? You can tell a whole bunch of stories, and we're working with an omniverse. So imagine the amount of stories we're going to be able to tell. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. I can't wait. Greydon, though, speaking of future things, with my last question, you have some music coming soon, or if not already?
Yeah, I do. Actually, no. I'm getting ready to release an album on my birthday, provided I get home and I'm able to do my final mixes and everything in a couple days, which I should have no problem with. But I just finished recording the last vocals for City on the Type of Forever. And I've been working on this album for, really since 2019. Maybe some of the earliest songs from 2020, but a lot of about the last 8 or 9 songs I recorded were from the last year. So it's a lot of new music, a lot of stuff that people haven't heard before. I feel like I've made the best musical and lyrical album I've ever made. I have songs on there that don't sound like anything I've ever done.
Yes, absolutely.
That is on an album that doesn't sound like any album I've ever done. So it's the first part in a series of 4. It's called City on the Type of Forever. And it's, basically going to be released first so that I can put out these other albums, Last of the Rhyme Lords, Tour of the Orphanite, and Iron Star Era. So yeah, that's my plan over the next 6 to 8 years to release those albums. But City on the Type of Forever is ready to go and should be out September 28th. Last of the Rhyme Lords I'm doing a song with Killer Priest and Cannabis on Last of the Rhyme Lords. I can talk about that now, right, Tombstone?
You can talk about that now.
Yeah,
I can talk about that now.
So yeah, me, Cannabis, and Killer Priest. I got some crazy features on that Last of the Rhyme Lords album. So if you guys want to support that, I'm going to be setting up something special for that as far as funding, because a lot of these features are going to cost. But
yes,
it's definitely something that we're going to do. So yeah, City on the Type of Forever, September 28th.
Okay, that's something to look out for, and I guess people can follow you on social media to find out more about that when it does come out.
Yeah, absolutely. Social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. The Discord is really the best way to interact with community. We have a fantastic community and a great set of moderators. The Valkyrie do a fantastic job keeping that community in order. So shout out to all the Valkyrie that are in the GU Discord, because they maintain that community. Shout out to all the houses on the GU. Yeah, they do. Shout out to all the houses on the GU Discord, just in GU in general. Reaper Legion, Trans Intellectual, Low Technology, Progeny of Ancients, Unified Federation, Giannis Left, like everybody. Like we have such a great community that the best way to interact with us is through our Discord and actually through our community services. So yeah, it's pretty cool. You can reach me pretty much anywhere. If you type in atheist rapper or, Greydon Square, Greydon, square like the shape, I'm gonna come up.
Square like the shape.
That is cool. So you guys have Extropy and Entropy, issue 0. It's out now by Majestic Comics. You guys are currently at DragonCon this weekend. Is there anything else you wanted to promote?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to the BlackNonbelievers for even inviting us and incorporating us into their Skeptrack event system, and we are eternally grateful for the continued support by Black secular people and Black skeptics and Black non-believers, because we have been a part of that community for as long as we can remember. And at the end of the day, we're still Black people in America. We're still Black people in the first world. And that comes with a certain perspective that we try to tell through this, even through this comic book.
Yep.
We try to infuse our perspective and the things that we go through as a community into this story. So yeah, I just want to give a big shout out to you guys, and really just all the people who have continued to support us throughout this endeavor.
Yeah, and I want to definitely shout out Reaper Legion, of course, and all of the people that we have kind of understaffed now for Majestic Comics. Like these people mean a lot to us, because they help us do a lot of the things that we don't have the time to do, and focus on creativity. Like, we could try to do a lot of that stuff, but you get bogged down in administrative things. So shout out to Mandy, shout out to Maylee, shout out to Jason. These people are super important. And also shout out to the third in the triune, the only Trinity that matters, Joseph Arnold.
Joseph Structure Arnold.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him.
I was going to end it with that too. I was going to say none of this would have been possible without Joseph Structure Arnold.
He created the fabric of reality with which our characters exist in. So big shout out to Joseph.
Absolutely. Big struck.
I appreciate you guys coming on the show. Thanks, Mandisa.
Thanks for having us.
And once again, fantastic products. It is always good for us to be in constant communication and networking. And I thought it was very, very important that y'all be here. And, I love for this relationship with the Skeptrack and and Majestic to continue, and it can only move forward because this just leads to so many good opportunities and so many good. The success is imminent. So congratulations to y'all once again.
Thank you.
Kickstarter, and congratulations on the future success of this brand. And
absolutely,
our community in our organization and members in the loop. There's a lot of overlap there, and we're excited about it.
One more thing. I got to shout out one more thing. I got to shout out Multiworld Entertainment, or they will hang me. I will shout out the Black Culture Geeks podcast, or SPJ will stomp on my liver. So shout out to all of them. Jaded Nerd, Adequate, my sister Marissa, shout out to my wife and kids. All of that all these people made this possible. So, and
finally, happy birthday, Mandy.
Happy birthday, Mandy.
Thank you. Well, we'll turn it up tomorrow. We're all here. So absolutely. We're going to do the damn thing tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, for the birthday shout outs early. Once again, please do support Black Non-Believers in honor of my birthday. Again, we are in our 11th year, and do support Majestic Comics. Purchase issue 0. And also, we've been sharing the links in the chat. Become a patron if you haven't already, and also purchase some merchandise. So thank you.
All right. Thanks for being on the show, guys.
Peace.
Was there anything else you wanted to get to, Mandy? So before I got to announcements and wrap up?
That was it. If anyone is here at DragonCon by chance, or if you plan on stopping by over the weekend, Our table is right across from the Grand Ballroom at the Hilton Atlanta on the 2nd floor. And also I will be speaking with the Skep Track. The buttons are $1. Yeah, sorry, I had to do that real quick. Yeah, and so I'll be speaking once in the morning at 10 o'clock and then at 5:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, which is my birthday. So once again, I know I said that already, but once again, if you are here, if you plan on coming this weekend, please do stop by and check us out. We have all of our swag here on display, and yeah, just stop by and say hello.
All right, cool. Yeah, check it out. With that being said, we're going to remind people. I want to thank Greydon and Tombstone again for being on the show. Please follow Majestic Comics anywhere on social media and purchase the printed copy of issue 0. And Majestic Comic merchandise. We'll have those links up for you again in the chat. Also, I wanted to remind people to check out the Where We're Headed podcast, which is a production of our Washington, D.C. affiliate. It's www.podbean.com. We'll have that link up for you in the chat as well. Women of Color, Beyond Belief is quickly approaching. Book your tickets today. Join us in Chicago from September 30th through October 2nd. Speakers include Cynthia McDonald, Nadia Dutchin, Sandria Hall, Tiffany Green, and many more. Student discounts are available, as well as sponsorship opportunities. We'll have that link up for you as well. Also, we've teamed up with Go Humanity for the Secure the Bag Part 2 at the conference. Join us as we pack meals to feed thousands of families in the greater Chicago area. Registration for the conference is not required to participate, but it is strongly encouraged. Donations are needed to fund this project, so please give generously via Facebook and the Give Lively links that we're going to have up for you in just a second. The official registration for BNCCon 2020 has ended, but if you'd still like to join us for the fun and educational time aboard the Carnival Spirit, you are more than welcome to. You can contact us at the link that we'll have up for you in just 1 second. With that being said, that wraps up this episode of In the Cut. We hope you enjoyed the show and that you'll join us again. As a reminder, we air every first and third Saturday of the month, so please don't forget to like the video and spread the word. Follow us on Facebook at BlackNonbelievers, Instagram at BNonbelievers, and Twitter at BNonbelievers. That's capital B, capital N. Subscribe to our YouTube. It's BlackNonbelievers on YouTube. Find your local BN affiliate and join. And finally, learn more and make a tax-deductible donation at blacknonbelievers.org/donate. Thank you to everyone who supported the summer drive. Of course, as Mandisa said, it's her birthday, and it'd be great to throw us Black Nonbelievers a couple extra dollars if you haven't. But thanks for everyone, and you can of course represent BN even more if you want to by getting some swag, shirts, hoodies, mugs, shot glasses, and more at the BN store. We'll have that link up for you as well. With that being said, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.